Okay, so we're talking, first of all, I would like, okay, where are my slides? To welcome all of you. So the format that we'll be using today is, of course, we do a welcome, and then we do the presentation, where we will talk a little bit about meditation, and then we're going to go into breakout rooms. One thing about the breakout rooms is I'm going to just have the names of the group leaders, and some of you may be familiar. So we'd have like Sister Ruth, Sister Marianne, then we have Michelle, Pat, myself. We'll have 5 breakout rooms this evening, and you would have the choice to decide where you want, who you want to be with. Sometimes you probably have been in the group or with Michelle or with Pat, you feel more comfortable, or if you're brand new, you can go with Sister Ruth or any one of the members. So the Caribbean groups could probably, you just decide. I don't want to put any ideas in your head, but if you feel comfortable with a particular person, or you're more familiar, or you want to learn more, or what, you just choose. And then this evening, we're going to have a presentation by our WCCM Caribbean leadership, which is Sister Ruth. We're going to have questions and a little chance to share questions, and then our closing prayer. So that's the format of today's meeting. The themes we're going to be covering each week are, well, what is Christian meditation? So I'm going to be sharing on that. What is Christian meditation? And then the second session, we're going to be sharing on John Main, who is the founder of the World Community. So we will learn about his own journey of faith and how he recovered meditation as a form of prayer. It would be very nice if we muted our mics so that we wouldn't get any distractions. We have a mic that's going, yeah, thanks. And then we're going to be talking about the roots of Christian meditation and the wheel of prayer next. And we're going to look at leaving self behind and the fruits of meditation in one session. So basically, we talk about John Main and the Christian path of meditation, the ways of prayer, discipleship, and then we talk about spiritual fruit. So that's basically where the 5 weeks are going to go. Our presenters, and this year we have each session will be presented by someone different. So I'm going to present this week, and next week we're going to have Michelle Jordan presenting, and she's going to do the second session. We have Pat Hawaii, who will do the third session. Judy Joseph McSween will do the fourth session, and I will probably come back to do the fifth session with you. And this is our leadership group here. And Maurice is going to do a talk next week with us. So he is going to present his own story as to how he came to Christian meditation. And so we're going to hear from Maurice. The final session, we'd probably all be there present and sharing as well. So that's your team. You wouldn't have to be listening to me for all the 5 sessions. You'll be going to have a little mix up, and you're going to hear different voices and different styles of presenting. And so we're hoping that will spice it up a little bit this year, and it'll be a little different for you. So this team here is actually the Trinidad leadership team that you're looking at on the screen right now. Feel free, to stop me if you want to talk also. So that's part here. I don't know why it's doing that, but anyway. And this evening, we're going to have Sister Ruth is going to chat with us a little bit. Just to put some perspective, Sister Ruth is the leader of the Caribbean World Community for Christian Meditation. And she's going to tell us a little bit about that. So I wouldn't say much about it. But so we come under the umbrella of the Caribbean, and Trinidad is a part of it, and which is why this evening we have so many different islands present here with us. So that's a little bit about where we are right now. So I'm just going to start by talking about the Christian meditation and what is Christian meditate. So Right now, humanity is in the middle of a pandemic, and people are pretty fed up and trying to regain some degree of normalcy in their lives. We're all looking for something that will quiet our minds from all the worries and stress. People are trying new things. And meditation is one of the things that's been promoted by many groups outside. There are all kinds of meditation happening out there. There is transcendental meditation, there is mindful meditation, there is Buddhist meditation, there is yoga meditation. Everybody is meditating some way, and meditation exists in some form in almost every religious tradition. We all meditate, and most people meditate within a tradition. And we're not here to bash one against the other, and so because we all meditate within traditions, and all traditions belong to one great tradition of humanity, really. So what we want to look at, however, during the course of these 5 sessions is what is Christian meditation and what is the origin of Christian meditation. And we're looking at it, is it a form of contemplative prayer, and examining and looking at it, and how, when we talk about meditation, what do we mean by praying by meditating, and how does that happen? So we're going to be looking a little bit of that. So it's not just sitting down and blanking your mind, and so, but what actually is the history of this, and where did it happen? And to learn to meditate actually is very simple. It can be learned in a few minutes. And you just close your eyes, you say your mantra, you bring your mind back to breath, and that's basically in one sentence what the physical thing about meditation is. So actually meditation techniques are very simple, and they can be learned in a few minutes, but meditation is challenging, to say the least. So it is simple, but it is not easy, which is what our group leader, Father Lawrence, our community leader, says all the time. It is simple, but it is not easy. So for example, if I'm to share my journey with learning to meditate, I would say, oh gosh, I cannot do this. I cannot relax, and I spent like about 2 years just to say, I just can't do this. It was very bohemian. It looked very kind of, chic to do it and everything. But really, when it came to doing it, I could not relax. I can't relax long enough to meditate. And I still know a lot of people who say, I can't relax long enough to meditate. And now I tell people, you have it wrong side. You have to meditate to relax, not relax to meditate. So it's just the way around, So meditation is like football. You can't say, oh yes, now I know how to play the game, and I have it all together. I know I did that already. I know the rules. I know the game. So now I can make the team. You just don't make the team like that. You have to practice constantly, and even then, we may still not make the team. So the best way to learn to meditate is to simply meditate. Even if you think you are failing, just think of it as a state of mindless union with God. It is simply about the intention and being totally open to God and just being there. We'll talk a little bit about what that means as we go on. So meditation in the Christian tradition is a form of prayer. Christian meditation is a universal spiritual practice that brings us back to the silence, stillness, and simplicity. And it guides us into the prayer of Christ. There are also, of course, many health benefits to be derived. And we talk about that in later sessions as well, which is why it's promoted. It's taught at the university in Trinidad as well. It's taught in schools. A lot of businesses ask us to come and teach meditation there as well. And, you just, they use the language, mindful meditation or whatever. And so, but in the Christian tradition, we see it primarily as a form of prayer. And, so we learned in our catechism that prayer is the lifting up of the mind and heart to God. So in meditation, we move from the mind to the heart. And that's why we say it's the prayer of the heart. It is a pure prayer without thoughts, without words. And as St. Paul says, it is no longer I who pray, but Christ who prays in me. And we are being totally open to God. Almost like the boot camp of the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus just knelt there and said, not my will, but your will be done. And we consent to the presence and the action of God within us. Meditation is an exercise in letting go. We'll stop the fighting is what I like to see, allowing ourselves to just simply experience the presence. And something else, we also experience the absence of God, and we learn to trust, be still, and know that I am God. So we learn that trusting as well. Meditation is a prayer of the heart. And so all thoughts, including pious thoughts and images, are set aside. And that is very difficult. That is always very difficult. We do not know what we ought to pray, but the Spirit intercedes for us through wordless groans. That's in Romans 8:26. And that is why we say meditation is like a dying to self over and over again. First, it will break you because you can't, it sounds difficult, so we all have a desire in us and a temptation for spiritual materialism, maybe. We want feel-good experiences. So we say things like, well, when I meditate, I don't feel anything. Nothing happens to me, I just meditate. And then there are the eccentric people who have told me in the past, oh, I was meditating and I saw colors and I saw rainbows and I saw stars and I got this image and so on and on. Bless their little hearts. Praise God for that if it does happen. But the important thing is that we have to remember it's not the essential, it's not the essence of meditation, it's not at the center of meditation. And then there are those who say, I just sat there, I just sit there, I don't feel anything. And for those, we say, great, you had a great meditation because, you just put yourself in the presence of God, just practicing presence. Maybe sometimes you see the stars and so maybe sometimes whatever, but it's about practicing presence, practicing presence. And then there is simply the slipping in and out of that interior silence, and we talk a little bit about more when we teach the method of meditation. Meditation is a prayer without thoughts. It's without thoughts, without words, without images. It is a prayer of the heart, and it takes us beyond the imagination and the ego and trying to solve and work things out. And as well as the lamentations, the lamentations, like today's gospel, when I read today's gospel and they said, which father would give a snake a stone if you ask for bread and all of that. And I sat down thinking, oh gosh, but look at what is happening in Ukraine. And so many of us are praying and da, da, da. And I started a whole set of lamentations in my mind while I was saying my prayer, and I was praying the rosary. And so, but meditation asks us to just go beyond the imagination, the ego, trying to work things out. And so, beyond the why me. We just be still and know that I am God. And also, meditation is not about eloquently saying prayers. We were taught to pray with the mind. And that is very important as well. We were taught, and as Catholics and Christians and all the religions, really, all faiths, really, you say prayers, you say different chants, and that's very important. But very seldom do we focus on the heart, really. And Christian meditation is called the prayer of the heart. It is an exercise, really, in being and not doing. And that is extremely difficult to conceptualize if you haven't been meditating. It's really like a restructuring of the ego, a letting go of all expectations, goals, achievements, and simply allowing the indwelling Spirit of God to be. On that day, you will realize that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, and I am in you. That indwelling Spirit, the day we realize that we don't need to go seeking God, because God is there. We just need to become aware of God, understanding we don't have to be going all over looking for God, and believing that He's already there. He dwells in us. In that day, you will know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you. And that simply is resting in that presence there, So in meditation, all expectations are set aside. We don't have to create an image of God before us. And yes, we don't have to, like, all of us have this image of God, and we build this image of God, and we know who God is to me, and so, but in meditation, we don't have to create an image of God before us. Thoughts would come and go, but we ask no latching onto the thoughts, no judgments. We simply try to go back to the mantra, resting in that presence, resting in the presence. It is a prayer of silence, stillness, and attention. So to meditate, and we're just getting now into the physical part of it, so we'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll actually do the meditation. So to meditate well, we need to adopt a comfortable sitting position. It must be comfortable and relaxed, but not sloppy. So when we say relax, not drop your shoulders. The back should be straight as possible, with the spine in an upright position. And we recommend sitting on a chair. You can sit with your crossed legs. If you can't sit, you were silent, good for you. And if you sit with your legs crossed, a cushion under helps, a cushion by your feet as well. Unfortunately, not your bed. Jesus said, stay awake and pray, so in your bed, it just gets a little too comfy and we might fall asleep. And our breathing should be calm and regular, allowing every muscle in our body to relax. And then we put the mind in tune with the body. And then we put the mind in tune with the body, and we need to be alert and yet calm. So we become as still as we can, and the task is to achieve the harmony of body, mind, and spirit. And to do that harmony. So we will actually practice in a little bit as to how we do, so we get our physical together, and as we sit, we will find our minds start racing everywhere. We're reminded of the saying by James Joyce, for those of us who read that fantastic Irish writer, James Joyce, who says, Mr. Duffy lived a short distance away from his body, and sometimes we are totally unaware of our bodies. And it is only when we are still, we realize our heart is probably racing, our hands are shaking, we realize, as happened to me recently, I realized I had started grinding my teeth, and it seems to be happening to a lot of people now, that you realize your clenched jaws, and a lot of things start happening when you just sit silently. And so a lot of people are very distracted when they start. So don't be discouraged. We could start by being mindful, by doing a mindful practice. So some of us meditate, like I practice. You can probably, after you do some stretches, after you walk, after those of us who practice yoga or whatever exercise you might do, it kind of calms your body, a gentle stretching session. A lot of times when I teach meditation outside of this space here, I do a stretch, a mindful stretch first, and then do it, and then do the meditation then. So we find our center, and meditation is learning to be in the present moment. Jesus said, when you pray, go into your secret room, and when you have shut the door, pray to your Father who is there in that secret place. And your Father who sees what is secret, what will reward you. And that secret place, we want to suggest, is the heart, where the indwelling Spirit of God dwells within us there. We pray in our room when we withdraw our hearts completely from the clatter of every thought and concern, and disclose our prayers to the Lord in secret, as if it were intimate. We pray with the doors shut, with closed lips, and in total silence. So we go and sit alone in our cells, and our cells teach us everything. And I'd like to use this to talk about the silence, from Kings 19, where the Lord said to Elijah, go out, stand on the mountain in front of me, I'm going to pass by. And as the Lord approached, a very powerful wind tore the mountains apart, and it broke the rocks. But the Lord was not in it. He was not in that wind. And after the wind, there was the earthquake, but the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire came, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, there was only a gentle whisper. And when Elijah heard it, he pulled his coat over his face, and he went out and stood at the entrance to the cave. And then the voice said, Elijah, what are you doing here? And so the Lord was in the silence. He was there in the silence. And it sounds pretty cool, but let's not romanticize it, because when we begin to meditate, there are many challenges. When we begin to meditate, we recognize the constant whirling going on in our minds all the time. Yesterday we had an experience. We teach meditation in the prisons, and yesterday, when we were finished meditating, one of the young men from one of the prisons, he just had an explosion, and he said, I can't take this anymore. I need to get out of here, and he just exploded right there. And so, because I think in the silence, we recognize, and we go into ourselves, go into that silence. So we recognize the constant whirl sometimes going on in our minds. Prayer is not a matter of adding to this confusion by trying to shout it down. The task of meditation is to bring all this mobile and distracted mind to stillness, silence, and concentration. And it is not easy, because I'm sure many of us would have heard of the monkey mind that happens, where we just feel like ideas just jumping all over ourselves, all over there, and things just go crazy. So we start meditating and remember, oh, I have a pot on the stove, or I didn't finish this project at the office, why this child is not home as yet. I didn't do this. And all these thoughts, I forgot to put my phone to charge, all the things that start jumping all around. And our minds go crazy, with busyness. And we try to control it, and it keeps talking to us all over again. And we tell ourselves, come on, inner peace, and we try, come on, I don't have all day. I just need to be quiet. I just need to be silent. Come on. And, I like this saying in meditating on my inability to meditate, due to the fact that when I meditate, I can't stop thinking about how I can't meditate because I'm thinking about my inability to meditate, and we all experience that. So it has its challenges, but so we like to say, you can't stop the waves of thoughts, but we can learn to surf. We can learn to surf the thoughts. And that's what we're going to be teaching, really. How do we surf these thoughts, and how do we manage these thoughts here? So we're going to do a little session. So I'm going to stop share for a little bit because I'm not seeing everybody here. Okay, are there any questions or so before we actually get into the practice of the meditation for the first time for some of us? Any questions or any comments anyone would like to make first? Yeah, no. All right, so we're going to actually get into the meditation. And I'm going to share my screen again.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Okay, so if we could, yeah. So to meditate, we repeat a single word faithfully from the beginning to the end. But before we get there, and let me stop sharing again, because it's sometimes nice if we turn on our cameras a little bit so we could get connection, because when we're meditating and calling community, creating community. So first of all, I want us to just sit up and still our bodies as much as possible. So we sit up, we roll back your shoulders. We roll back our shoulders, and we just become aware of our bodies. So relax your feet. And you move your awareness to your calves, your thighs, we feel the weight of our bodies sitting on the chair. And give a big exhale and just let your tummies go. Relax your arms. We put our fingers gently on our laps, so we can put them together on our thighs. We relax our necks. Shake it no. Yes. Relax our faces. So just drop your jaw. If you have to, relax your cheeks. Feel the tension leaving your forehead. And we gently close our eyes. We turn our attention to the breath. And as we take a deep breath in, feel the cool air enter in your nostrils. And you breathe out. We feel the toxic air leaving. And we breathe in cool air. Breathe out. And in. And out. And we find now our sacred word. And the word we recommend is the word Maranatha. Maranatha simply means come Lord in Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus spoke. So we start to repeat the single word faithfully from the beginning to the end of our meditation. Maranatha. We say it in 4 syllables. We say it constantly. And we stay with this sacred word throughout. And thoughts will come. As you become aware that you're thinking, you gently come back to the breath and come back to your mantra, your sacred word, Maranatha. And thoughts will come again and again. Whenever you become aware of a thought and that you're thinking, you gently come back to the breath, come back to the mantra, remembering to be gentle with your mind. The mind was made to think, that's what it does. Gently come back to the breath, come back to the mantra. Meditation is an exercise in learning to be gentle with ourselves, to be still and know that God is present. So we're going to practice this, and you're going to hear a little gentle music to get us in settled. And then you're going to hear a chime to start and a chime to stop. I have decided we'd go the full 20 minutes, or maybe we'll shorten it a little bit tonight. Remember to just stay with the breath and stay with your mantra, being gentle with yourself. Heavenly Father, open our hearts to the silent presence of the Spirit of your Son. Lead us into that mysterious silence where your love is revealed to all who call, Maranatha, come, Lord Jesus.
So what is this?
Very gently, and only when you're ready, come back to the room. Okay, so we're going to just go into some breakout rooms now, as we discussed earlier, and just chat a little bit about, and tonight we're just going to say, like, why we came, what our experience of meditation has been like, and what our background is like in meditation. So we just share it with our groups, and how successful we thought we were or not. And so just share it with the group of leaders. So we have Sister Ruth, Sister Marianne, Pat, Michelle, and myself. And all persons are, can chat with you. Those who feel comfortable with Sister Ruth in terms of, like you don't know enough, Sister can help you, or probably from the other islands, so you would be more familiar with Sister. I know Pat and Michelle and myself, we know a lot of the community within. So, just people, anyone who you would feel comfortable. Sister Marianne, I know she has her own little group here as well. So I'm going to open the rooms, and you just choose which room you want to go into. If I'm going to stay here, yeah. So, so if you scroll down to the bottom of this you will see where you join. Yes?
Could you switch off the recording? I was trying to.
Oh, okay, sure.